All right, Team IT Assist, you ready for another deep dive? Today, we are tackling something that might seem a little, well, basic at first, but trust me, it's way more important than you might think. We're going deep on internet domains.
And even I have to admit, when we first talked about this topic, I was like, domains? Really? What's there to deep dive about?
Right, it's like we use them every day, so we must know everything.
Right. Oh, so wrong. Turns out even seemingly simple things like domain names can be surprisingly complex.
Okay, now I'm intrigued, but let's start simple. For any of our colleagues who maybe haven't spent much time thinking about domains, what exactly is a domain name? Imagine you have to explain it to, say, your grandma.
Okay, picture this. You're trying to visit your favorite website, but instead of typing in a nice, easy-to-remember name, you have to type in this long, complicated string of numbers. That's the website's IP address. Not very user-friendly, right?
Oh, definitely not. My grandma would never remember that.
Exactly. So domain names are like nicknames for websites. They're easy to remember and make it way easier for people to find what they're looking for online. Instead of those number jumbles, we get google.com or idassist.eu. See? Way simpler.
Makes total sense. And I bet this is something our sales team has to explain to clients all the time.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, this is your digital address, folks. This is how people find you on the internet.
It's your digital storefront, basically.
Exactly. And just like storefronts, there are different types of domains, each with its own purpose and audience. You've got your .com, .org, .net, the classics, we call those GTLDs, or generic top-level domains.
Those are the ones we see all the time.
Right. But then you've got your CCTLDs, which are country code top-level domains.
CCTLDs. Like what?
Like .ro for Romania, .fr for France, .uk for the United Kingdom. You get the idea. Each country gets its own little slice of the internet pie.
Oh, that's interesting. So if a client wants to target customers in a specific country, they need to think about getting the right CCTLD.
You got it. It can make a huge difference for local visibility. Imagine a Romanian business trying to attract customers in Romania. A .ro domain just makes sense.
It's like having a shop on the right street. And speaking of different types of domains, what about those newer ones?
You mean the NTLDs?
Oh.
Those are fun. These are newer options that go beyond those traditional ones.
Yeah, like .tech or .shop.
Exactly. They give businesses more creative options to really highlight what they do. So instead of just yourbusiness.com, you might have yourbusiness.tech if you're a tech company, or yourbusiness.shop if you're an online retailer.
It's like having a neon sign that says exactly what you do. So choosing the right domain name is kind of a big deal.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the first step in building your online identity.
Okay, so we've got the perfect name. What happens next?
Well, we need to register it and make sure it's properly managed, which brings us to security. Security, security, security. It can't be stressed enough.
Right.
If a domain is like a house, we need to make sure it's got solid locks on all the doors and windows.
So what are the essential security measures our teams at IT Assist need to be on top of when it comes to domains?
Well, for starters, we've got Who's Protection. This one's a no-brainer. Basically, it keeps the domain owner's personal information hidden from the public.
So no more spam calls because your phone number is plastered all over the internet. I like it.
Exactly. It helps prevent all sorts of annoying stuff, but also some serious risks, like identity theft.
Makes sense. What else?
Then we have two-factor authentication, which is, like adding an extra lock to the door. Even if someone gets hold of the password, they still can't get in without that second layer of verification.
A must-have for any online account, really. Speaking of security, I saw these acronyms in our source material. SPF, DKIM, DRRC. They sound like some kind of secret code.
Huh? They do, don't they? But they're actually pretty straightforward. Think of them as our weapons against email abuse. They help make sure emails coming from a specific domain are the real deal, not some phishing scam or spam.
So it's like having a bouncer at the email door, making sure only the legit messages get through.
Pretty much. And this is huge for protecting our clients' reputations and, honestly, just keeping their inboxes clean. I bet our service desk team, especially the L2 and L3 folks, could tell us some stories about the chaos that can happen without these protocols in place.
I bet. Okay, all this security talk is making me a little paranoid. What happens if something goes wrong, despite all our best efforts?
Let's just say a misconfigured domain can be a huge mess for a client. Imagine their website going down because someone forgot to renew the domain. It's not pretty.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
It is. Clients freaking out, lost business, all that fun stuff. And that's why we have those trusty SOPs, our standard operating procedures. They're like our safety net, making sure we don't miss those crucial renewals.
So no last-minute panics or angry calls from clients.
Hopefully not. Our account managers are usually the first line of defense, keeping track of those deadlines and communicating with clients. And of course, our finance team is in the loop too, making sure payments are processed and everything's up to date.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Right. Now, what happens if a client wants to switch registrars, like moving their domain to a new home?
Ooh, good question. Is that complicated?
Not really. Think of it like moving a house. You pack your stuff, get a new address, and let everyone know where to find you. In the domain world, it's basically unlocking the domain, getting the EPP code, that's like your key to the new place, and confirming everything with the new registrar. Simple enough.
So it's a well-defined process, but I'm sure things can still go wrong, even with the best intentions. What are some common domain errors our team should be aware of?
Well, one of the biggest ones, and one that can cause major headaches, is messing up the name servers. They're basically like the GPS coordinates of a website. If they're wrong, no one's going to find the website.
So it's like having the right address but the wrong map.
Exactly. And that's where our service desk team comes in. They're the ones who have to fix those mistakes and make sure everything's pointing in the right direction.
They're like digital detectives tracking down those errors.
Huh, I like that. But it's not just about fixing problems. Our field ops team also needs to be really careful with DNS settings when they're setting up on-site equipment for clients. If those aren't right, things like printers and scanners might not be able to connect to the network, and that's a whole other kind of disaster.
So it's not just about websites. Name servers touch pretty much everything these days. What other domain disasters should we be prepared for?
Well, remember those email authentication protocols we talked about? If those aren't set up right, important emails might end up in spam folders or even get blocked completely. Not a good look for our clients.
No, that's a business killer.
Exactly. So our projects team needs to be extra careful when they're setting up new email systems for clients. Making sure those SPF, DKIM, and DMRC records are configured correctly is like making sure the mailman has the right address and the right postage stamp.
It all comes down to the details, doesn't it? Speaking of real-world examples, have you ever encountered a really memorable domain disaster in your time at IT Assist?
Oh, I have one that comes to mind. But to protect the innocent, let's just say it involved a well-intentioned client who tried to handle a domain transfer on their own. And let's just say it did not go well.
Yikes. Well, maybe we can hear that story another time. But for now, let's dive a little deeper into those mysterious name servers you mentioned earlier. What exactly are they, and why should everyone at IT Assist, from service desk to finance, care about them?
You hit the nail on the head with that map analogy because name servers really are like the GPS of the internet. Think about it. You want to visit, say, IT Assist's website. So you type in itassist.eu and hit enter.
Okay, so far so good.
Right. But behind the scenes, your computer's like, okay, where do I find this website? I just have a name.
So it needs corrections.
Exactly. That's where the DNS server comes in. Think of it like a giant phone book for the internet. Your computer asks the DNS server, hey, what's the IP address for itassist.eu?
Right, because computers speak in IP addresses, not those nice friendly names.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's the thing. The DNS server doesn't actually store all that information itself. It needs to check with the name servers for the domain.
Ah, so the name servers are like the actual pages in that phone book, the ones with the specific addresses?
Precisely. They tell the DNS server, hey, here's the IP address where you can find itassist.eu, and then boom, your computer knows exactly where to go to load the website.
It's like a relay race, and the name servers are that crucial handoff.
A perfect analogy. And if the name servers aren't set up right, the whole system breaks down.
Like a typo in the phone book, you call the wrong number.
Exactly. If the name servers are pointing to the wrong IP address, people trying to visit the website are going to hit a dead end. And that's why our service desk team, especially our L2 and L3 specialists, they need to really understand DNS. They're the ones who have to fix those typos and guide people to the right place.
They're like digital traffic cops, making sure the internet flows smoothly.
I like it. But it's not just about fixing problems when they pop up. Our field ops team, when they're setting up equipment on-site for clients, they need to be just as careful with DNS settings.
Because if those are wrong, it could mess up things like printers and scanners trying to connect to the network.
You got it. That can really bring a business to a halt. Now, speaking of common problems, I'm sure our service desk team has some stories about those oh no moments with domains. What are some of the things they run into on a regular basis?
Well, you won't be surprised to hear that a lot of the calls are about websites being down. And often the culprit is, you guessed it, those name servers we've been talking about.
Ah, the usual suspects.
Right. Sometimes there's a typo when a server is being migrated or someone accidentally changes the settings. Whatever the reason, the website is inaccessible and people can't find it.
That's got to be stressful for everyone involved.
It is. And that's why understanding DNS, even for our L1 team members who handle those initial calls, is so important. They need to be able to spot potential DNS issues and escalate them to the L2 or L3 folks if needed.
It's like a triage system, making sure the right expert gets on the case.
Exactly. But it's not just websites. Email problems are another frequent issue. Clients might report they're not receiving emails or their messages are ending up in spam folders.
Ah, yes, email.
Mm.
Always a source of joy, right?
You know it. And often the root of those email problems is those MX records.
Ah, right, the email version of name servers. How do those work again?
Well, just like name servers point to the location of a website, MX records tell email servers where to deliver messages for a specific domain. So if those records are wrong or outdated, emails might get lost or flagged as suspicious.
It's like sending a letter with the right street address but the wrong zip code. It might get there eventually, but who knows when.
Exactly. And this is another area where our service desk team's knowledge is crucial. They need to be able to check those MX records and make sure everything's up to date so emails are delivered smoothly.
They're like the postal service of the internet, keeping those messages flowing.
Huh, I like that. Now, what about those security protocols we talked about before? SBF, DCOM, and DMRC. Did those ever cause issues for our service desk?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes a client will call in panicking because their emails are suddenly being marked as spam. It's hurting their business, their customers are confused, and no one knows what's going on. And often, the culprit is a misconfigured SPF record.
So the email is going to the right address, but it's like the sender's ID isn't checking out, so it gets rejected.
Exactly. It's all about verifying the sender's authenticity to prevent those phishing attacks and scams we talked about earlier.
It's like having a security guard at the door, checking IDs to make sure everyone's legit.
Precisely. And this is where our projects team plays a huge role. They're often the ones setting up new email systems for clients, and making sure those SBF, DCOM, and DMR records are set up right is crucial. It's like giving each email a little digital passport to prove it's the real deal.
Okay, so we've got our service desk team troubleshooting DNS and email issues, our field ops team making sure equipment is properly connected, and our projects team setting up those secure email systems.
Domains really do touch every part of our technical operations at IT Assist.
They do, but it's not just about the tech folks. What about our non-technical teams? How does all this domain knowledge relate to departments like sales, account management, or even finance?
That's a good question. I mean, they might not be configuring name servers or troubleshooting email problems, but understanding domains is still important for them, right?
Absolutely. We're all working together to make our clients successful.
So how does knowing about domains help our sales team, for example?
Well, imagine a sales rep talking to a potential client about setting up a new website. They need to be able to explain those different types of domains, the GTLDs, CCTLDs, and NTLDs we talked about, and help the client pick the one that best fits their business.
So they're not just selling a product, they're being a consultant. Exactly. And don't forget about pricing. Our sales team needs to know how much domain registration and renewals cost so they can give clients accurate quotes.
It's like being a domain expert, guiding clients through all the options. What about our account managers? How does domain knowledge help them?
Account managers are the main point of contact for clients, so they need to be able to answer basic questions about domains and handle any small issues that come up, like those domain renewals, for example. An account manager who understands how that process works and can remind clients about deadlines, that can prevent a lot of headaches down the road.
So they're building relationships and keeping things running smoothly.
Exactly. And then there's our finance team. They might not be configuring name servers, but they need to understand domain-related expenses to make sure invoices are right and payments are processed correctly.
It all goes back to that interconnectedness. Every team at IT Assist plays a role in the domain ecosystem, even if it's not always directly technical.
You got it. But beyond the day-to-day operations, there's also a strategic side to domain management that we should talk about. A domain name is more than just a web address. It's part of a brand. It's often the first thing people see when they interact with a business online. So choosing the right name and managing it well, that can really impact a brand's reputation.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it that way before.
Think about it. A good domain name can make a company look professional and trustworthy. It can help people remember the brand and find them online more easily.
So it's not just about keeping the website up and running, it's about creating a good impression right from the start.
Absolutely. And this is something everyone at IT Assist should think about no matter what their job is. We all play a part in building our clients' online presence, and understanding how important domains are is key to giving them great service.
Well said. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to how far-reaching domains really are. But before we wrap up, we have to talk about security.
Ah, yes, security, the unsung hero of the internet. And when it comes to domains, security is paramount.
We already talked about whose protection and two-factor authentication. What other security measures should we be thinking about?
Right, those are essential, but we can't stop there. One of the biggest threats out there is domain hijacking. It's like someone breaking into your house and changing the locks.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds bad. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, an attacker takes control of a client's domain name. They can redirect traffic to a malicious website, steal data, even hold the domain hostage for a ransom.
Hold on, ransom. Like in the movies.
Yep, it's a real thing, and it's getting more common. But don't worry, there are things we can do to protect our clients.
Okay, good. What can we do?
The first thing is strong, unique passwords, and, you guessed it, two-factor authentication for all domain accounts, like having a double lock on the door.
Makes sense. What else?
We also need to enable domain locking, which prevents unauthorized transfers. It's like putting a big "do not enter" sign on the domain.
So even if someone gets the password, they still can't transfer the domain away.
You got it. And it's super important to keep all contact information up to date, so we're notified right away if anything suspicious is going on.
Like having a security system that alerts you if someone's trying to break in.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive. But there are other threats too. Have you ever heard of DNS poisoning?
I don't think so. What's that?
It's where an attacker messes with DNS records to send traffic to a fake website. So let's say you're trying to visit your bank's website, but the DNS server has been compromised. It sends you to a fake site that looks just like the real one, but it's designed to steal your login information.
Oh, wow. So you think you're on the right website, but you're actually being tricked.
Exactly. It's like following a detour sign that leads you right into a trap.
So how do we protect our clients from that?
One way is to use DNSSEC, which stands for Domain Name System Security Extensions. It's kind of like adding a tamper-proof seal to DNS data, making sure it hasn't been messed with.
So it's like a guarantee that the information is legit.
You got it. And that's just one example of all the things we need to think about when it comes to domain security. It's an ongoing battle, but we have to stay vigilant to keep our clients safe.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I never realized how complicated and important domains really are.
They really are the foundation of the online world. And as IT professionals, we have a responsibility to understand them and protect them.
And at IT Assist, we're not just IT professionals, we're a team. So that means everyone, no matter their role, has a part to play in this domain ecosystem.
That's right. Whether you're on the service desk, in field ops, in projects, or even in finance, understanding domains makes you a more valuable member of the team.
Absolutely. This deep dive has been super informative, and I feel like I have a much better grasp on domains now. But before we wrap up, any final thoughts?
You know what really gets me? It's that even something as basic as a domain name has all these layers of complexity. The technology, the security, the branding, it all matters. And it's something everyone at IT Assist, from the interns to the executives, should understand.
I agree. But why is that? Why should everyone care about domains, even if they don't work with them directly?
Because domains are the foundation of our clients' online presence. They're the gateway to their websites, their email, their cloud services. And if something goes wrong with those domains, it can have a ripple effect on their whole business.
So we all have a responsibility to protect those domains and keep our clients up and running?
Exactly. And beyond the technical stuff, there's a human side to domain management that we can't forget.
What do you mean?
Well, behind every domain name, there's a person, a business owner, an organization. They're depending on us to keep their online presence alive and well. It's their livelihood, their passion, their dream. We can't take that lightly.
That's a really good point. It puts things in perspective.
It does, and it's something we should always keep in mind.
Well said. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful, and I feel much better prepared to help our clients navigate the world of domains.
I'm glad to hear it. But our exploration doesn't have to end here.
What do you mean?
Well, I have a challenge for you and for everyone listening. How can you, no matter what your role is at IT Assist, contribute to a culture of domain awareness and best practices within our company.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to have to think about that.
Me too. And I hope everyone listening will take some time to consider it as well.
This deep dive has definitely given us a lot to think about. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of domains. Until next time.